Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hey everybody, Spider here once again. Coming Soon podcast, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. My guest, all the way from Las Vegas, my man. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Of course, we were talking a little bit earlier, and I have you here for a few reasons. I mean, of course, this project film that's going to be coming out in March, I believe.
Yeah, March 7th, we're expected to be in select theaters.
No, yes, select theaters. And I was going to ask you about that too, because the name of the movie is called The Fetus. I mean, we're definitely going to get into that. But I had a question. I've been following you guys on social media for a while, for weeks. The movie itself, as soon as I saw the name, it caught my attention because, for one thing, I mean, the fetus, everybody thinks innocent, you know, little baby, and not so innocent, you know. I mean, you gotta watch the film, but the trailer is out there. You can kind of glance at what's going on. The synopsis is on there. But before we get into all this, my man, I had questions. Now, on your IMDb, it says, of course, you were an intern before you actually founded your company and started making your own movies. But before you were an intern, I mean, what were you doing first? Were you writing? Were you producing, directing?
Yeah, before as an intern, I went to college, film school. So yeah. I just cut my teeth making a bunch of short films, commercials, and just figuring out like what I wanted to do. Because I didn't know if I really wanted to be a director at that point. But once I started getting into it, I was like, okay, yeah, let me tackle this. So.
You see, and of course, even in the beginning, I mean, you just mentioned you didn't know exactly which way you were going to go. So was this destiny? I mean, were you kind of like, let me see what fits and I'll just keep going?
Well, the weird thing is when I was 16, I had a teacher that showed me a movie. It's called Citizen Kane.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. I just thought before then movies just happened. I had no idea that there was like a thought process behind it, an artistry behind it. You know, I thought it was just like, it's like just making widgets or something, you know, but I was like, wow. Like just so many techniques that were used in it just stood out, and it just I caught the bug. So even in high school, I started just making video projects for some of my school assignments when they didn't need video projects back then. And this is when there was no like digital stuff. This was like analog shooting on tapes back then. So,
and of course, this was a handheld camera, right? I mean, I don't think it was. Was it like an actual VHS, or you're talking about the mini cassettes?
Oh yeah, I had like the big camcorder thing, and you put a whole VHS tape in there. That's what you record on. So,
you see, and I actually have one of those. I actually found one a few years back through at a real estate. I just had to pick it up. It works, but you know, I don't want people to mistake me for a news reporter out there, man. But that thing is a dinosaur, man. But you know, I mean, you started, like you said, you started filming. I know I did read you're doing music videos. I mean, were you in a band? I mean, were you involved with music already?
No, I would like produce and direct the music videos for bands.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure if you guys had a garage band going and you just said, hey, let me videotape this.
No, I wasn't, you know, in music. So it was like, I would do things like, you know, it was like rappers or even, you know, love songs, jazz, country music, you know, all sorts of artists. So, yeah.
Nice, man. And of course, I mean, the practice, I mean, you started filming, editing. I mean, I'm sure that was minimal back then, right? Through a VHS tape. But when did you get into the whole digital aspect?
Yeah. No, once I went into college, that's like, I mean, I started shooting in film in college, nice. You know, and we were editing on things called flatbeds where you would spool the actual film and the sprockets through it, and you would literally cut it with a blade and then cut the piece out, the section out, put the two together. That's how we started editing. You know, so this is you know, back in the 90s, you know, when I was in college, late 90s. And then like the digital era started coming. Like this is while I was still in film school. Yeah. So we started transitioning into digital and into like these giant like edit bays, which cost like $250,000. You know, you didn't have just the software you would download nowadays, like Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah, everything's on an app, right? Everything's on your phone now, man. Before, and I was gonna say too, because I'm from that era. I mean, we used to actually do photography. We used to, you know, go to a dark room and actually get our own film, So I'm up there, man. I definitely know. I never got into film. I mean, that would have been pretty cool. I mean, when it came to videotaping, have you ever done acting? I mean, were you in theater?
I mean, I took acting classes, but it was more like acting for directing, to understand directing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then, I was in a play once in college, but wasn't for me, And I taught kids filmmaking for a couple of years in a kids camp up in the mountains somewhere, and they would have me act in their projects sometimes. So it's not for me. And honestly, I make a cameo in The Fetus. Not something I want to do. Absolutely not. But the actor that we had scheduled, he had a family emergency. He had to back out, and nobody on the crew wanted to step in. So I had to. It was rough. It was rough. We got through it though.
And I was gonna say too, because I mean, this is an indie film, so of course, budget. It's always out there. I mean, when it comes to our actors, I was gonna ask you what happened, because of course, for you to have to jump on there, something had to happen. But yeah, man, I mean, can you tell us apart, or do we got to watch the movie?
Yeah, you got to watch it. You got to watch it to catch me in there. I come and go. It's
Quick cameo, huh? Man, that's pretty cool, man. And now, like I mentioned, man, I mean, I've been following you guys for weeks. I mean, this project, you guys have been promoting the heck out of it, which I think it's great. A lot of footwork, a lot of conventions. All over the place, man. So of course, this momentum, it's for a reason, and that's so when the film is dropped, everybody can go run out there and watch it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if you've seen recently, we were at Creep IE Con that's in Ontario, California, and we literally had 2 models wearing pregnant bellies, and they had their shirts lifted up. So it's just covering their chest area, but the belly is exposed. And normally pregnant women, they're not exposing their bellies. So we had a lot of strange looks going in their direction, and then doing double takes. And then eventually, people got closer and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were really pregnant." And then they start grabbing the fake belly and all that. And they're rolling around with these strollers filled with these condom wallets, because we were promoting a giveaway that's going on right now. Yeah. So it's a big giveaway prize that we just wanted to give something to the fans, which I'll get into a little bit later as well. I don't have to do it right now.
Sure. You see, and I had seen that, and when I first saw the women with the bellies, I said, "Man, were those like people cosplaying?" I didn't know you guys brought them, so they were with you guys. They're part of the promotion.
Yeah, the great thing is, we had a great response, because everybody that was walking through the front doors, we were handing them. We literally gave out 6,000 of these condom wallets.
Yes, bro.
And people would open it up, and they would see the condom inside, and we'd be laughing. And I got some video testimonials of that. And I literally had people, like some of the organizers, they literally said, "Joe, this is the best marketing I've ever seen for a film." Yes. And these are, guys that they do these conventions all the time. So for them to say that, I mean, that was, let us know we were doing the right thing, going in the right direction.
No, for sure. You see, and that's one of the things. I mean, I attend a lot of events here in Texas, man. And that's one of the things I always told these vendors. I'm like, dude, if you're not making eye contact, half the time they're on their phone. I said, if you're not, starting a conversation, nobody's going to know who you are, man. You got to network. You got to, flag people down, at least greet them, or just give out stickers or something, But yeah, you guys have been handling pretty damn good, man. I mean, I might hire you guys. I don't know. We'll see, man. I don't know if I can afford y'all, but when it comes to the marketing. Now, of course, the whole condom thing. I mean, the name of the movie is The Fetus. So, who came up with this condom promo?
That was my idea. I have a background where I had a business. I was doing e-commerce, and we do trade shows every year. And so I just brought what I knew from before into this, and I wanted to find out like what would people really like. Instead of just giving them a postcard size thing with the QR code, or a business card, is like, what is something they can value, they can keep, and they can use as well. It's multifunctional. These condoms, Mario, these condoms are FDA approved, so nice. You can actually use them. It's safe for sex.
Oh, yeah. Prevent pregnancy, among others, huh?
And we literally put on there. Normally, it says for STI and pregnancy prevention. We put for STI and fetus prevention. So it's a little play on words there. So
No, that's good, man. I saw that and I was thinking, dude, genius, man. I mean, that's definitely something that caught my attention. The name of the film, of course, caught my attention. What caught my attention as well, the plot, the storyline. I mean, when the trailer came out, but the actors in this film. Can you tell us a little bit about who's starring in this?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, of course, Bill Moseley, who's horror icon for the past 40 years, been in over 120 horror films.
Nice.
And he was my third pick for this role, the very first person that was cast, because I wanted somebody who had an established history that was recognizable with a fan base, versus starting off with the younger actors. Then they didn't have much of a body of work yet. Then it's a little more difficult. So I started with him. 3 hours after he received the offer and the screenplay, I mean, he said yes.
Nice.
And I was just like, okay, great, we're off to the races. After that, we submitted for the roles of Alessa and Chris onto Actors Access, which is a site where actors go and they find job postings and they submit. So literally 7,500 submissions from female actors. And when Lawrence came in, she knocked it out of the park. It was like head and shoulders above everybody else. Now, I have to say that a lot of the actresses, their tapes were great. Their self-tape submissions were great. But she just nailed the character so much that it felt like she wasn't getting into the groove. She was already there.
Wow.
And that's how powerful it was. And then the third actor we brought on board, his name is Julian Curtis. He actually lives in Australia, and he just got the comedy that was baked into the screenplay, because there's some humorous moments in there, and that if you're not able to tune into that, you just may play it very straight. And I wanted this film to be something where it is something that is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. It deals with the pro-choice, pro-life debate. But at the same time, I want it to be digestible in a way that is like not so serious, heavy-handed, so you can take it in and you can enjoy it, whichever side that of the aisle that you're on. So
nice, man. And of course, I mean, those actors, like you said, I mean, they do have a background. I mean, the experience is there. So was it important for them to have that following? I mean, I know as far as Moseley, but I mean, everybody else, were you still looking at that, or were you just looking at what they were bringing into the character?
No, it wasn't, because we cast Lauren before Terrifier 2 took off in theaters.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well, that's great, man. I mean, even then, she did come in with experience. So I mean, the fact that she nailed it, and she got the part. I mean, how many times did you have to look at that video to say, okay, this is it?
Honestly, I think after the first or second time, I just said, this is Alessa.
Nice, man.
I literally tell people, Mario, that I felt like I could take her audition tape, edit it into the film, and like people wouldn't realize that that's a self-tape audition, because emotionally it's so powerful, it's so charged that you would just probably you wouldn't register.
Nice, man. Well, that's good. I mean, that goes to say where she's at in her as far as her talent, man. Because I mean, it says a lot. Now, let me ask you, when it comes to writing, I mean, were you writing at an early age?
Yeah, I think because I read a bunch of fantasy novels or sci-fi novels, and I got into writing, but once film came around, and I was like, oh man, let me write a bunch of screenplays and see how it goes. And just leading up to doing my directorial debut, I mean, I literally wrote and directed 12 short films. Total helped produce 20 of them. And it was because I wanted to get good at it, and I wanted my work to land with an audience, to be able to grab them and to not let go from beginning to end. And for the first 11 short films that I did, I wasn't able to pull that off. I was just like, this is not working. Something's wrong here. But then finally, my 12th short film, we won 56 awards.
Nice.
And when people would watch it, they're just locked in. There's no distractions. There's no moments where they start to lose interest. I will sit there with an audience, and it's just complete focus. It's a 15-minute short film. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I have the magic trick. So I'm going to replicate this in a feature film now.
Wow. You see, now let me say this, because I mean, 15 minutes, okay, that's I mean, it still seems hard, because I'm not, I can't do that. I mean, for me to stand here and get somebody's attention for 50 minutes, I'd probably lose them in a minute, but for you say you nailed it, I mean, in 50 minutes, how were you able to do that in a feature film? I mean, what was it that you just setting or the setup, should I say?
With the feature film, yeah, I just use certain storytelling structures to be able to engage the audience from beginning to end, and also to have certain stakes to where you care about the characters, so you want to know what the outcome is. And it's also like if you're creating a roller coaster ride in film, you have to create a roller coaster ride of emotions, up and down, that you're not sure if they're going to make it or not, or who's going to win out, who's going to beat the other person, if they're going to heal or not, they're going to get better or they're going to get worse, or they're going to stay the same. Like, you want to know what's going to happen. It's like a good joke that's being told. You want to know the punchline. But to have it extend out, there are just certain things that I just had to keep dropping here and there to make it engaging enough in between all the drama. And I believe that we've really pulled it off, because we literally went through 4 test screenings. And with those test screenings, well, I actually made the difficult decision to say, you know what? We need to film an extended ending. We have to go back to Pennsylvania, have to raise more money, bring as many cast and crew back to do this. And it's hard, because I could have just said, okay, let's just release the film as is. But people, they loved it up to a certain point where they're like, it's rising climax, and then it just ends abruptly. And so they wanted more. And so, yeah, and I do, honestly, Mario, I do all of this for the audience. I do not need to be making films. I have enough stories going on in my head that I see that I can enjoy on my own. But because I enjoyed this one so much, I wanted to spend the 3 years bringing this to life and giving it to everybody. That's why I'm doing it, because the return on this is crazy low in terms of the hours spent, thousands upon thousands of hours, the 100 of professionals that have worked on this around the world, even that we have people from that have touched this film. It just doesn't make financial sense, economic sense. But I'm in a position where I can spend the time to do this and craft it, and I care so much about the audience, because I'm an audience member, and especially the horror fans, because I grew up watching certain horror films that just blew me away. And this is my gift to the world and to horror fans.
No, that's great, man. I don't think I've ever heard a director, and I'm sure they are, but I've never heard them consider themselves a fan, because, of course you have to be, if you're doing this for financial gain, of course, just like with a lot of things in life, they don't happen, some get lucky and they do, but, it's always those opportunities you take, and some make them, some don't, man. But the fact that you consider yourself a fan, or you are a fan, that says a lot, and makes me even want to watch this film even more. Now, you said as far as you did add an extended ending. So what was it, the time frame for it before, or prior?
The time frame for filming the extended ending?
Right.
Yeah, it was because we had filmed this in August 2022. It was a 3-week shoot, and then knowing that we still had, it was 17 days. We still had a couple days for a green screen shoot in LA, but we had spent 1 year editing it and figuring out what's the best way to tell the story. And I ended up editing it to save on the cost as well. And because this is my first feature film, it is completely different dynamic than doing a short film. Short film, you're in and out. You're just as much conflict as possible. This is sustained conflict. So to make the green screen shoot work, I wanted to figure out what were all the elements that were missing by editing it all together, minus all the green screen, practical and visual effects stuff. Some of them were impossible to do in Pennsylvania, in a cabin and a basement. And so by planning all that in advance, then going into the pre-production and production a year later, around it was June of 2023, we got everything we needed in 2 days. And we even brought in this big giant cave that we brought into a soundstage, a green screen soundstage. And then again, we after that, putting it all together, and we were still doing visual effects and doing the 4 test screenings with audiences. That's when we determined we need a better ending. If we're really going to do justice for the fans, we need a better ending. And that's how it came about. So, which we filmed earlier last year. And I think it was June or July of just last year.
Okay. Wow, man. So, 3 years, a lot. Now everybody was already cast, right? I mean, everybody was on board from the get go.
Yeah, and Mario, you're very choppy, so just let you know it's hard to hear you.
Yes, sir.
Crackling a lot.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. But as far as the cast members, were the cast members already like on board from the beginning? All of them?
From the very beginning, all.
You said you've been filming for 3 years, so I mean, the filming, of course, I know you needed the actual stars of the film on there, but I mean, did you keep adding more people as the years came by?
Yeah, there were just a few, like, that we had a higher body count, like kill count at the end. So yeah, we had some new cast members that came on board at the end.
Yeah. Nice, bro. And of course, man, like you said, I mean, the fact that you're enjoying this. I mean, 3 years in this film. So I mean, what's next after this? Are you thinking that far ahead, or are you taking a break after this?
Oh man, this is the launching pad. So after this, I've got a mind-bending sci-fi action that's a cross between Minority Report and Memento.
Oh, nice.
It's I can share what it is. It's called Memory Hunter. It takes place in a future where the worst offending criminals, who were rapists, pedophiles, murderers, they have, instead of going into prison for life and staying there, not being rehabilitated or anything, they have their minds erased. So you'll have a 40-year-old man who has the mind of an infant.
Oh, wow.
And then they have to go through what's called a Life Reformation Institute. They have to get, re-educated, their morals and all these things, with the hopes of they're not repeating the same mistakes.
Right.
We follow this main character, a detective. He gets framed for murdering his wife. And then from there, he downloads her dead memories into his brain to catch the real killer.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wow. That's intense. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So and much like The Fetus, because I like telling stories that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Like the usual tropes, the stereotypes, and all these things that I have trouble sitting through movies now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is new? What is fresh? What is something like The Substance? Yeah. If you've seen that, like, I love that one. I was like, okay, they're doing something so brand new that I'm into it. That was my favorite movie last year, And so along the lines of that, it's like, and people have said the exit testimonials from The Fetus, they're like, oh, this is something refreshing. This is something I haven't seen before. This is, I'm getting something new and different now. And so, yeah, we're going to have a video coming out pretty soon of our film screening that took place in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, where it was purely a horror screening for horror fans specifically, right. Completely free. We gave them merch at the end of it. We just asked a few people for some testimonials about what they thought. And even the guy who runs the Art the Clown Society, for a lot of the after the conventions where they go to they gather together, right. Because they love Art the Clown. The head of that, he went on video and he said he was blown away. Like, he absolutely loved The Fetus. Yeah.
You see, and I was going to say that too, because I mean, a lot of the, I'm a fan of sequels. I mean, I'll watch like a part 1, a part 2. After part 2, I'll kind of get lost, So a lot of these films, like you said, I mean, they kind of repeat the same characters, the same, and I was going to ask you before. I mean, like when it comes to like the film Scream coming out, I think later this year. I mean, are you a fan of that film? Let me ask you that.
The original Scream, yeah.
Well, the franchise.
Absolutely, the original Scream. I mean, the storytelling is so on point for that one. Yeah.
See, but when they run that long, I mean, does that keep your attention? Because I mean, I like Scream. I saw 1 and 2. I don't think I saw 3, 4, and 5. I saw 6 when they came out, so I was lost. But with the new one coming up, I'm not really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm glad that they're getting, bringing back some old faces. But when it comes to the film itself, it could have ended on part 2. Honestly, for me, this is just for myself. But are you a fan of films like that though? That the franchise just keep running and running.
I'm not. I honestly, I think it can even muddle the original. Yeah. Sometimes. To me, it's like, I would love it if filmmakers just challenge themselves more, as much as possible. I understand it's, the commerce of film business. You know, the production companies need to make money,
Right.
but at the same time, like honestly, like I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to be here forever.
Right.
My film, The Fetus, will live on forever
Right.
past myself. And so this is a gift that I'm leaving behind because I can't take it with me. Can't take the money with me. It can't take any recognition, which I don't care about recognition. I want something that can help people when they watch it to either heal from a certain place, because our characters start from a certain place where they're a little bit broken,
Right.
And they can get better as a result, or they can improve themselves as a result, because they're not quite what the other characters need them to be.
Right. Man, wow. You see, and I was going to say too, a while back I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and they were talking about I forgot what film it was that we brought up, but they had brought up the fact that, you know, they're glad they didn't see it when they came out, because they weren't there mentally, they weren't that strong because they were going through issues. And I had never thought about that, because I was like, man, you know what, there's movies out there that might be a little traumatic for some people because of what they're going through in life, or at the same time there's a film out there that might heal somebody, like you said, you know, because they're dealing with you know, problems, issues, you know, depression, whatever the case may be, you know. But I mean, you know, for that reason alone, I mean, that's the reason that, I mean, I love jumping on films myself. It's just because it's therapy. I love the, you know, podcasting because it's therapy. I get to talk to people and just hear what's going on in the world. But you know, when it comes to being a writer, director, producer for yourself, is this your therapy? Is this does this help you like on the daily? I mean, I know it stresses you out 100%, but you know, does this help you with everyday life?
No, I'm in a place where this is optional for me.
Yeah.
You know, optional in terms of what I mean is like to in order to live, like, you know, I don't have to do this, but it is a calling, and it's kind of like, am I going to pick up this mantle to carry the torch that other filmmakers have passed along,
Right,
and further the genre, further the method of storytelling, of cinema, and like I said, it's giving something to the world. That's essentially what I feel like I'm doing here. It's not just to, because so here's the thing. I know people who they get into entertainment and they're doing it for themselves,
right,
and that's fine. No problem with that, you know. But I find that when they take that approach, they drop off. Just a few years into it, and they're not able to sustain, and so they quit. I'm not doing it for me. All this, spending all this time, like making a film, marketing it, creating all this merchandise and all these like giveaway prizes and all this stuff to engage the people to go watch it. It's not for me. It is for the horror fans, absolutely, because I've been affected so deeply by movies that I want to give that experience to other people. And that's what drives me. If I did it for myself, I would have quit a long time ago. Because this thing is grueling, Mario. This is like, it's unlike any business. I've done other businesses in the past that have succeeded and some have failed. This is grueling. I've never done a business like this before. So, you know, but at the same time, it is the most rewarding.
right,
Because when I'm sitting in the theater, and I got Bill Moses sitting right next to me, and I've got a crowd of audience members, and everyone's enjoying it. And Bill's just laughing and you know, just like throwing his head back and looking over at me and nudging me and loving this part and all that. And it's like, oh man, it's just that enjoyment. That's what fills me up, knowing I've given that to somebody.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, I'm pretty sure it's cool that you get to hang out with people like that as well. You know, I mean, of course they're working in the film, but I mean, you know, Bill Moseley. I mean, is he an actor that you can see yourself using later on for another project?
Oh yeah. I told him about the premise of Memory Hunter. So I said, I'm gonna, you know, I may need you, Bill. I'm writing it right now. So so
Don't go too far, huh? And let me ask you, I mean, when it comes to films, because you said you are a fan, so what are your go-to films at home? I mean, if you go home and you're bored and you're like, you know what, let me throw on the movie, like which one is it? What do you pick?
Oh, my go-tos. I've got The Fly,
Oh,
The
nice.
Thing, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know how many times I've seen that one. The Exorcist. Well, I've only seen it once. Shook me to my core, and I'd never have to see it again.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. It would be hard to watch again, to be honest, because it affected me so much. I saw it when I was a kid. Maybe that's why.
Oh, yes.
Rosemary's Baby. So a lot of body horror stuff I'm really into, but some of the new stuff I like too, like Talk to Me. Megan was great. I mentioned The Substance. I love that one.
Man, and let me ask you, when it came to writing The Fetus, I mean, what was going on that you were like, you know what, let me write about this? I mean, was there something that was in the news? Did somebody tell you something, or how did you go about writing the script?
Again, the first thing I looked at is what is something I haven't seen before in genre, in the horror genre that people haven't done. And the second was, how would someone behave because normally you have the villain chasing after the human, whatever the villain could be, the ghost or demonic force or a creature, right? It's always that separation. But what if I were to merge the two, but not only merge it, because in The Thing, it's pure evil. Yeah. But what if I were to merge it and make it like half human, half demonic? And while it's going out and it's killing people, what if there's a chance that it could turn out to be good with the right parenting?
Nice.
What do you do, right? But at the same time, it's also threatening your life if you keep it in there.
Wow. Oh, yeah. You see, and that's like I mentioned earlier in the beginning, when I saw the name, I said, okay, The Fetus. I was like, let me see what this is about. And I saw the trailer and I was like, damn. I said, okay, you know what? Like, it was intense. I mean, there was a lot going on in just the trailer itself, but I mean, they gave me enough to where I was like, man, I'm gonna have to watch this. Like, as soon as this comes out, I'm gonna have to go and take a look. Now, you mentioned it is going to be coming out in March in selected theaters. Do you have a list of theaters, or are you guys still plugging those in?
Well, Mario, actually, before we get to that, I want to mention that the name alone has actually been very controversial. The Fetus. We've had talks with distributors, sales agents. Some of them have said, we'd like to take on your movie, but you'd have to change the name.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Wow.
Now, Mario, if you have kids, what if somebody said, hey, Mario, we like your kid, but we can't accept him or her into the school unless you change their name?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Find a school where I can put them. Find somewhere else.
Right? We've literally had companies that the employees wanted to pick up our film, but then the CEO catches wind of it, watches the screener, has an emergency meeting, and says, no, the guy shot it down because he felt, quote unquote, uncomfortable.
Wow.
We've had others say, you know what, this could really take off, or this could bomb. We don't know. Because the subject matter, we don't know how people can respond to it. So we've had people also say, we can't run your trailer. They say we can't run your trailer on our platform, on Facebook or in our Instagram.
Wow.
Because it might offend our audience base, or there's going to be the privacy protections in the platform. Yeah. They're going to flag us and we could get deplatformed.
Man, I had never thought about that. I mean, the name itself, man, that's crazy. I would have never guessed. I mean, I say things that, they might upset some people. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, but I mean, to use not just the word The Fetus, but I mean, the film to actually, the trailer, I would have never guessed that. I mean, I don't know. I guess they're not movie fans because, I mean, I found this very nostalgic. I mean, maybe, that's the reason. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, when it came to movies, a lot of them, I mean, of course, there were ratings, but, they were pretty open, man. It was just like a punk rock music. It got censored years later, and it's just kind of, for me, it just killed the music itself because it's always been about, protest and just speaking your mind, But I did not know that, man. Wow. Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah, we were even told that, you have to change your name or else we can't get in a Walmart. we can't sell DVDs in Walmart.
Damn.
And that's part of their business model for some of these distributors.
That's wild. I mean, I would have never thought, but I mean, I guess in a sense, I mean, that can be good or bad though, right? Because I mean, not so much that it's bad publicity, but the fact that people are saying no and, people are going to want to see it. I mean, it should raise the views and raise the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I just don't want to get deplatformed to certain sites because we also I literally got my account permanently banned from Etsy because I put the Fetus merchandise on there, which were literally, I kid you not, literally just, they were mugs, T-shirts. I think maybe I may have had the condoms on, maybe not, or I was still designing it during that time. Yeah, permanently banned. At first it was a suspension, and they gave me 6 months to appeal. I kept trying to appeal, but they wouldn't even let me appeal.
Damn. So
now I can never list anything on Etsy, and I can't buy anything on Etsy.
Damn. So that was it. That was wow.
And Mario, I'm still not changing the name of the movie because
no, man. Like, like you said, that's your baby, literally. That's your film, man. I mean, you don't want to do that, But I mean, like I said, I mean, the fact that people, I did not know that. I don't think I've ever even heard of that. But I mean, the fact that people have or are going to after this interview, man, I mean, that's pretty wild. I would, I'm not, like I said, I'm not one to say, I don't speak my mind to offend people. I mean, there's a thing or two that I say because, it's like I have 2 younger kids, right? I have 2 daughters, and, they the way they think is there's a younger generation. So I'm old school. I'm like, man, I grew up, walking home from school and no phone, getting lost. And, so I'm 80s stuff. I lived in that era. I don't expect them to change what it is now, but at the same time, I'm not going to change the way I am because you know what I mean? Like just let me live in peace, man. But the fetus, man, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. And I hope you guys can get it out here in Texas, man. I would love to be able to watch it on the big screen.
Yeah. I mean, with theaters, I mean, we've had the confirmation to be in 11 theaters and looking to expand into about 25 more. But right now, the tough thing is with theaters, you never know if they're just going to pull you. Yeah, that could happen. So we're trying to get them to finally launch so we can do pre-sales because we have a giveaway that's going on as well. It's actually this $25,000 grand prize giveaway that anybody can enter, literally just going to our website, enter your name and your email, and you get one entry, and you can do multiple entries beyond that if you like. But if your fans go to thefetusmovie.com, they can enter and just see all the details. Literally, we have the same cabin that we filmed in, where we're giving a weekend trip to, flights, and it's like a $22,000 prepaid card. You can use for shopping, dining, ground transportation, and then we have like prosthetics from our award-winning special effects makeup guy who won 2 awards and the equivalent of the Academy Awards in Colombia, back-to-back years. And we have like the fetus prosthetics. We have like like severed arms. We even got Lauren Lavera's wardrobe that she wore on screen. That is a part of it. So this and all this other merch that we have, DVDs, posters, signed stuff, that is all rolled into this big $25,000 grand giveaway prize. So yeah, if the fans just go to thefetusmovie.com, they can check it out and just enter. So it's free to enter. So.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, I mean, if they win, if they have a date, the condom won't come in handy, right? You have condoms out there too for them?
Say that again. It's all like scratchy.
No, I said if they bring somebody with them, of course, are they gonna be able to win the condoms as well? They might be able to use them that night, that day, that weekend.
If they like, yeah.
Man, that is wild.
It's the flights for 2 people. That's part of the package. So.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, not just because I have you on here, but I mean, I did want to learn more about the film, the storyline. Like I said, the trailer, the actors that are in there. I mean, everything just kind of seemed to fit. So the fact that you're telling us that it took you 3 years to finally get it done, I mean, it just shows how much love and how much it is personal, to you, man. I mean, you wrote this. I mean, you said you had to edit, at the end to save on funds. So You know, I'm looking forward to it, man. I mean, The Fetus. You know, for those that are out there, I mean, of course, that don't know the synopsis. I mean, what is this movie about?
Well, so this movie, I mean, it's really about a young couple. They get unexpectedly pregnant with a half human, half demonic fetus with a thirst for blood. And so it's going out and it's killing people. And then they go to the girl's father's place to figure out what are the origins of this. And then just craziness ensues from there.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And of course, like you mentioned, I mean, it gets, you know, it's the cabin itself. I mean, I know that's in the trailer. You said this one that they get to win a trip in is actually the actual cabin.
Yes, the actual cabin that we filmed in. Yes,
that is dope. I'm gonna enter, man. I know I saw the website and I was like, man, I got to look into that because I do need a vacation, my man. But of course, yeah. I mean, you said you have somebody out here in Texas. I mean, is that family or friends?
Oh, it's a former business partner.
Oh, okay. And where you came over here to visit, though, right?
Yeah, it was Austin, Texas.
Oh, dude, that's right up the street. They're cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah. What city are you in?
San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like right down the street. I was actually in Buda last Friday watching another indie film, man. I went out there to the drive-in theater to go check it out. So I'm hoping, you know, plug it into the doc theater, man. See, they'll put it out there for you guys too, man. I'll drive out there and check it out.
Yeah. Because we were talking with Alamo Drafthouse, you know. So, but then they got bought by Sony, so now they're playing all the big movies. Not, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh man.
I know, and that's what I've had a few people already say that they tried to plug him in and they got denied. You know, so I was like, man, that sucks. You know, but hopefully, man. If not, you know, there's plenty of theaters out there, man. I know we got one here, City-Based Theater on the south side that does a lot for indie films. So I'll definitely throw that at you and see maybe you can make that happen.
Oh yeah, please. We'll reach out. You know, so. We literally been reaching out to all the theater chains, you know, and some of the big ones, like they're still considering us too.
Sweet, bro. And of course, man, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, these conventions that you guys attend, I mean, marketing, I mean, it's key. You know, the fact that you said you did the whole e-commerce thing, so you know you do have experience with that. You know, how can other people, I guess, do what you're doing when it comes to marketing? Because I've had some locals here actually do a great job. But for those that are watching that, you know, they're trying to get their movie out there. I mean, what are some go-to pointers that you can give them?
I would say put yourself into the shoes of the audience, of the fans. Okay. Like if you're, you know, as a horror fan, what do you want?
Nice.
Do you want a postcard? Right? Is that going to do it for you with like just, you know, just some images in the movie? Yeah. And also what is in the movie that you can bring into the real world. Yeah. So it's a stronger connection. So if you, let's say my movie is about an ice cream killer, you know, the guy who rolls up in a van and selling ice cream and that's how he lures people and kills them. Right. Well, you know what? I'm bringing an ice cream truck to all the horror conventions and I'm selling ice creams.
Yeah.
And I'm pouring like, you know, blood red syrup on it.
Why not?
That's what I'm doing, you know? Yeah. So what can I give them that's specific to the film that they can take and keep with them? And so it's something that's like a almost like merchandise or a product that they're going to want to keep forever. No, you know, that's not just something that's generic.
No, yeah, you know, I always tell people because I know a lot of people still do business cards and postcards, and I'm like, man, they give them to me, and I try to keep them together just because I don't want to be that guy to throw them away, but they don't do anything, you know. I mean, I'm right there with you. I'd rather have something that I'm going to keep, whether it's a pen, whether it's a magnet that I can use on my fridge, or who knows, you know, but something that you can use on an everyday. And I was going to say also, when it comes to filmmaking, because of course, I mean, you said you don't have to do this, but we thank you for doing this because, you know, obviously there's a lot of creativity coming on. That film that you mentioned earlier, when it comes to the time travel or that takes place in the future, when are you going to be working on that?
Well, that's something that I need to make sure that this movie is profitable. Right. So, you know, I'm a businessman as well, so I need to make sure that economically, you know, can return the money to the investors and then be able to raise more money as a result. Because if I'm not able to, how do I go and make the next one? All right, I'm almost doing a disservice to the people who gave money for this movie,
Right.
if I don't find a way to, bring it out to the people who, and, the cost is, like what, 10, 12, $15 for the theaters, or online, it's like what, $5 to $10, something like that, depending if you're renting or buying, so I have to make it my mission to return the money back to the investors. And then I can, then I feel like it is a business model. I can bring more investors on board and say, look, we were able to be successful with this, because a movie is a business. I'll be honest. They call it show business. The show is the art side. You're showing a piece of artwork, and the business is the commerce side of it, the transactional, the money side of it. So I wish it was just one. I wish that a studio would just hire me and I could just make the movies. I would love that. That would be great. I wouldn't have to worry about doing all this other stuff, marketing and all of that, and designing the products, building the websites, even doing the Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all of that stuff, the social media, which we have a person for now. Her name is Ali Dilak, which she does a phenomenal job.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just me, her, and our other producer, Brent Trotter. It's the three of us like making this happen, to be honest. So, and then just hiring, who we need to for certain events that we're putting on. Like we have an LA premiere coming up on this coming Monday. And some of the cast and crew are going to be there. Some of them are flying in from the East Coast. Wow. Bill is going to be there as well. We're doing another 30-minute Q&A with him and some of the other cast and crew. And but like putting on these events, it all costs money, so most films don't put on a premiere, but it costs a pretty penny, and we're inviting like the press, the influencers. I mean, it's too bad you live in Texas,
No,
so
man, I was going to say, if I give me a sponsor, I'll fly out there, man. Heck, I would love to go out there. But yeah, man. But I mean, that, you guys are doing it right, man. And because of that, I mean, I hope when this movie does come out, it does get these numbers, and like you said, I mean, investors get their money back, and that way, it'll be your word. Your word will be out. Your name will be out there when it comes to your word, and be able to keep producing. But my man, let me ask you this before we wrap this up. Acting. Can we see you acting in the next film? A cameo, maybe.
Preferably not.
No,
Preferably not.
But of course, man, I do thank you. Anything you want to say before we wrap this up, bro?
I just want to say, Mario, thank you for what you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Because what you do for indie filmmakers is so crucial. We don't have the big marketing spend like the studios do, so that when I see like people have like their top 10 lists of like indie horror films coming out, we're not even on there. And I think it could be also because, we don't have the big marketing push for so much awareness, for so many people to see our film or trailer and be aware and put it on their list for additional promotion, so you helping us get the word out on our film, it just means the world to me. And this is to everybody else, any other influencers, podcasts. I'm happy to talk to anybody. It doesn't matter what kind of following. I just love talking about film, horror, and just pushing the boundaries as well, in storytelling.
No, for sure, man. I mean, I do thank you for jumping on here. Like I said, when it comes to supporting indie film, I mean, by all means, I'm a big fan, of course. I want to be able to keep supporting as much as possible. Being here in Texas, I kind of like it because I'm central. I mean, of course, we're down south, but I mean, everybody's in LA or they're out there in New York, and I'm just here in the middle, just trying to watch everybody, But there's a lot going on here too. But my bro, thank you for jumping on here, man. I do appreciate your time. Everybody out there, don't hang up yet. Everybody out there, of course, once again, Spider here, Coming Soon Podcast. Till next time.